never thought I would be the person writing one of these posts. If you had asked me 6 months ago who my best friend was, I would have said my sister, Emily, without hesitation. Emily is 2 years younger than me. Growing up, we were inseparable. We shared a bedroom until I moved out at 22. We shared clothes, secrets, trauma, everything. When our parents divorced, we promised each other that no matter what happened, we would never turn into the kind of family that stops talking. I kept that promise. I just didn't realize she hadn't. I'm 29F. My husband, Daniel, is 31M. We've been married for 3 years, together for 6. He's quiet, calm, introverted, the opposite of my sister. Emily is magnetic, loud, the kind of person who walks into a room and somehow owns it within minutes. People adore her, especially men. When she got engaged last year to her fiancé, Ryan, 34M, I was genuinely happy for her. I helped her pick out her dress. I went to tastings. I booked vendors. I even offered to cover part of the venue because she was short on budget. The wedding was supposed to happen last weekend. It didn't. Because 3 weeks before the ceremony, I discovered something that shattered everything I thought I knew about my sister. It started small. Daniel had been distant for about 2 weeks. Not cold, not mean, just distracted. One night I asked him directly, "Is something wrong?" He hesitated. That hesitation felt like a knife. He said, "There's something I should have told you earlier." My stomach dropped. He handed me his phone. There was a thread with Emily. At first I thought, okay, normal. They talk sometimes about wedding stuff. Then I scrolled, and I wish I hadn't. It wasn't one inappropriate message. It was dozens. Flirty jokes, late night texts, inside references. Then it escalated. I miss when it was just us talking. I think about that night sometimes. My hands started shaking. "What night?" I asked. Daniel looked sick. He said, "Nothing happened." Which, if you've ever been betrayed, you know is the worst possible sentence. He explained that about 2 months ago, Emily had asked him to help her move some decorations from storage. I was at work. She had opened a bottle of wine. She started venting about Ryan, said she felt trapped, unsure, questioned if she was marrying the right person. Then she said something that made my entire world tilt. She told him she had always wondered what would have happened if she had met him first. He said he laughed it off. She didn't. She touched his arm, sat closer. At one point, she leaned in like she was going to kiss him. He pulled back. He left, and he didn't tell me. Because, according to him, he didn't want to ruin my relationship with my sister over something stupid. But she kept texting him after that. He swore he never flirted back seriously, but the messages didn't look innocent. They looked like emotional cheating. And it was my sister. The next day, I drove to Emily's apartment. I didn't call first. She opened the door smiling. "Hey, I was just going to text you about the seating chart." I held up my phone. Her face changed instantly. She didn't deny it. She didn't even look ashamed. She rolled her eyes. "You're overreacting." Overreacting. She said she was just joking. She said Daniel misread signals. She said I was insecure. Then she said something I will never forget. If he was that easy to tempt, that's not my fault. That's when I realized something terrifying. She wasn't sorry. She was testing him. And maybe testing me too. I asked her directly, "Do you have feelings for my husband?" She paused. That pause was answer enough. She said, "I don't know. Maybe I just wanted to see if I could." Apologized repeatedly. He offered to cut, apologized repeatedly. He offered to cut all contact. He blocked her. But the damage was done. I wasn't just hurt, I was humiliated. She had been coming to our house, sitting at my table, smiling in my face, and texting my husband at midnight. The wedding was in 3 weeks, 200 guests, non-refundable deposits. I was paying for part of it. And I realized something. If she could do this to me before her wedding, what kind of marriage was she about to enter? So I called her fiancé, Ryan. I asked him if he knew how much Emily and Daniel had been talking. He didn't. I sent him screenshots. He went quiet. Then he said, "I need to talk to her." 2 days later, he called me back. The wedding was postponed, officially due to stress, unofficially because he didn't trust her anymore. My phone exploded. Family members accused me of sabotaging her happiness. My mum cried and said I should have handled it privately. Emily told everyone I manipulated the situation. She said Daniel flirted first. She said I was jealous of her. I lost half my extended family overnight. But here's what nobody talks about. The grief of losing someone who is still alive. The kind of grief where there's no funeral, no sympathy cards, no official ending, just silence. Just the absence of a person who used to know every version of you. For weeks, I kept reaching for my phone to text her something random. A meme, a complaint about work, a memory from childhood. And every time I remembered, we weren't speaking. Not because of one mistake, but because of a pattern. And patterns are harder to forgive. At first, I tried to convince myself that maybe I had overreacted. Maybe I should have kept it between us. Maybe I should have confronted her and forced her into therapy instead of exposing everything to Ryan. But then small details kept resurfacing, like the time she joked years ago that Daniel was the only decent guy I've ever dated, or the way she'd hug him a little too long at family gatherings, or how she once told me, "You're lucky I'm not evil." I used to think that was sarcasm. Now I wasn't so sure. 2 weeks after the wedding was officially cancelled, my mom invited me over for dinner. She said we needed to clear the air. That phrase alone made my chest tight. Emily was already there when I arrived. She didn't look at me. Ryan wasn't there, obviously. My dad avoided eye contact. My mom kept pretending everything was normal. Halfway through dinner, my mom finally said it. "Can't you two just apologize to each other?" Apologize to each other. Like this got blown out of proportion. That was it got blown out of proportion. That was it. No accountability, no remorse, just irritation that she got caught. I felt something cold settle in my chest. "I didn't blow it out of proportion," I said. "You crossed a line." She laughed. Actually laughed. "You're acting like I slept with him." My dad finally spoke. "Did you?" The room went silent. "No," Daniel said from behind me. I had asked him to come for support. He had stayed quiet until then. Emily turned to him, eyes sharp. "You don't need to defend yourself. We both know what really happened." That was new. "What does that mean?" I asked. She leaned back in her chair, arms crossed. "It means he liked it." The air left my lungs. Daniel didn't deny it immediately. That hesitation again. He said, "I liked the attention. I didn't like her." But the damage was done. Emily smiled like she had won something. That night ended with shouting, my mom crying, my dad telling everyone to grow up. We haven't had a family dinner since. A few days later, something unexpected happened. Ryan called me, not to yell, not to accuse, to thank me. He told me he had confronted Emily one more time after seeing the additional screenshots from Claire. She didn't deny them. She said she was testing her options. Testing. Like relationships were job interviews. He said the scariest part wasn't the flirting. It was the lack of empathy. She didn't seem sad the wedding was cancelled. She seemed angry that she lost control of the narrative. After that call, I started thinking about our childhood differently. Emily was always competitive. If I got an A, she needed an A+. If I made a new friend, she had to be closer to them. If I had a crush, she'd suddenly become interested too. There was one memory that kept replaying in my head. I was 16. I had my first serious boyfriend, Mark. He came over for dinner once. A week later, he broke up with me. Months later, I found out Emily had been messaging him behind my back. Nothing physical happened, but she told him I was emotionally unstable. I forgave her back then. I told myself we were just teenagers. Now I wondered if that was the beginning. Therapy became a weekly routine for Daniel and me. Our therapist asked hard questions. "Why didn't you tell your wife immediately?" Daniel admitted he liked feeling desired. He said Emily made him feel interesting, seen. That hurt more than the flirting, because it meant something in our marriage needed attention. We started unpacking everything. Communication, resentments, small ignored issues. And weirdly, our relationship started improving. Painful honesty has a strange way of doing that. Meanwhile, Emily started dating again almost immediately. Through mutual friends, I heard she was seeing a coworker, married. That part didn't surprise me. What surprised me was that his wife found out within weeks. Apparently, Emily had sent him selfies, late night messages, same pattern. The wife confronted her at their office holiday party. There was a scene. HR got involved. Emily quit before she could be fired. My mum called me crying. "Why is this happening?" she asked. I didn't answer, because I finally understood something. This wasn't happening to Emily. Emily was happening to everyone else. Months passed. Holidays came and went. No invitations. No shared celebrations. Daniel and I hosted Thanksgiving for his side of the family instead. It was peaceful, quiet, healthy. And I realized something I hadn't admitted to myself. I felt lighter without her. That realization came with guilt. Because sisters aren't supposed to be optional. But sometimes boundaries feel like betrayal when you've been trained to tolerate chaos. One evening, out of nowhere, Emily texted me, "I miss you." That was it. No apology, no explanation, just 3 words. I stared at it for a long time. Part of me wanted to respond immediately. Another part knew better. I asked her, "Do you understand why I'm hurt?" Her reply, "I understand you're sensitive." And there it was again. Minimization, deflection, superiority. I didn't respond after that. A few weeks later, I got an unexpected visitor. Claire, the ex who sent me screenshots. She was in town and asked to meet. Over coffee, she told me something I didn't know. Emily had messaged her too, after the engagement ended. Not to apologize, to accuse her of sabotaging things. Claire said, "She needs to win, even when there's nothing left." That sentence stuck with me. Emily didn't want Daniel. She wanted proof she could take him. She didn't love Ryan. She loved the idea of being chosen. And once she was chosen, she got bored. The final divorced. I laughed it off. But later that day, I was at a bar with Daniel's cousin, single, recently divorced. I laughed it off. But later that night, Daniel's cousin messaged him. Apparently, Emily told him that Daniel and I were on the brink of divorce, that I was unstable. Again, same script as high school, same narrative, only now the stakes were higher. That was the moment I blocked her, on everything, phone, social media, email. I didn't announce it, I didn't make a scene, I just removed access, and something shifted inside me. For the first time, I wasn't reacting, I was choosing. Months turned into nearly a year. Daniel and I renewed our vows privately. Not because we had to, because we wanted to. No family drama, no spectacle, just us. When my mom found out, she was hurt she wasn't invited. I told her gently. Peace was more important. She didn't argue. Last I heard, Emily moved to another state. New job, new friends, new narrative. I sometimes wonder if she tells them I'm the villain. Maybe she does. Maybe in her version, I destroyed her happiness. But here's what I know now. You can't destroy something that was built on manipulation. You can only expose it. Do I miss my sister? Yes. Do I regret telling Ryan? No. Because silence protects the wrong people. And loyalty without boundaries isn't love. It's self-abandonment. So if you're asking whether I would do it again, I would. Even if it cost me half my family. Even if it rewrote my childhood memories. Because some people don't need forgiveness. They need distance. And sometimes the most loving thing you can do for yourself is let someone go, even if they share your blood. So, Reddit, AITA,